I wanted to just make this little video. You've probably heard by now, but I will be retiring at the end of February. And I really enjoyed my 16 and a half years in geography and my 19 and a half years at San Diego State. And so I just wanted to make this little video since we're not in person and we're virtual, so that I could just thank you properly virtually. Anyway, my first interview at San Diego State, and thinking back at it, was back in the 60s, and I was in elementary school, and I was trying to go to the campus lab school, and they interviewed me like 3 times, and they had me take a bunch of tests, and then they let me into the campus lab school. And after I would get out of the school, I would walk over to this house on Hardy Avenue. It was the anthropology office, and they had Yumiko was the department secretary there at the time, and they had this lounge in there. And Yumiko had cookies always, or baked some type of brownies or baked goods. And so when I would go over there and I'd wait for the half hour until my dad got off in their lounge, and she would always give me cookies or some type of baked goods, but she'd tell me that I couldn't tell my parents, and I had to promise I was going to eat my dinner or she would get in trouble for giving me cookies. So that was my first experience at San Diego State, and so I enjoyed that. Later on, I went to UC Irvine, and I played 3 sports at UC Irvine. I was a biology major, and I minored in computer science and electrical engineering. I minored in chemistry, and I minored in math. So that I enjoyed, UC Irvine. And then I came to work at San Diego State. I initially worked in natural science department, and that department disbanded, and so I had to look for temporary jobs because we had a hiring freeze at that time, and they weren't hiring anybody permanent except for the critical positions. So I found a temporary job in CRIMSI, Center for Math and Science Research Education. We actually bought the first Macintosh computer on campus with a little small screen. And from there, I went to work for somebody that was on maternity leave, and the vice president for student services, and worked for Jane Smith. For those of you that know Jane, she's probably the kindest person at San Diego State. She has retired since, but it was very nice to work for her. Then I went to work a temporary job for sociology while Beth was on maternity leave, and I worked with a lady named Lillian, and she and Dr. Weeks was actually a professor in sociology at that time. And the department chair was leaving to go become vice president of student affairs. And so I worked there for 3 months. And then I was tired of working temporary jobs. So I got a job with the city, and I worked as a nighttime computer operations manager, running backups, printing reports, running reports, doing check runs, things like that. And from there, I went back to Georgia Tech. I worked during the Olympics, and that was fascinating. I actually got to meet Jimmy Carter twice, which was really great. And I got to give tours of the Olympic Village to Alan Tipper Gore and Eunice Kennedy and a lot of other international delegations. And it was just real exciting. After the Olympics, I came back and worked in the University of California. I was up at UCSF working for the School of Medicine as an HR manager, and I worked for 2 Nobel Prize winners, actually. So that alone was fascinating. In my office, I had a view of the very top of Golden Gate Bridge, going over the top of the trees of Golden Gate Park. You could see the bridge coming over it, and that was a really nice setting. And so from there, my father got ill, so I moved back down to San Diego. I was a volunteer high school math and science teacher for 4 years at a private school, and that was probably the most rewarding job I've ever had. I worked with kids that had been dropped out of school or been kicked out of school, and I loved working with them. It was just wonderful. And I am proud to say that 99% of them now, there was only one that didn't go on because he was shot in a gang fire, but 99% of the kids now have a 4-year college degree, and they all make more money than I do. So they all stay in touch with me. So that was great. And then from there, I needed to have a salary, and I came to work at San Diego State. I started out as a temp in biology, and thanks to Ellen Nash, who was the assistant HR director at the time, who I knew through the urban league work I did, and she actually is the one that opened the door, gave me an opportunity, and from there I went to work for Beth Burns in basketball. And that was fun. And you worked from 6 a.m. to like 11 p.m. just about every day. And so then I came to work in geography. And John O'Leary was the chair at that time. And I've been here ever since. And so my first day on the job, Aguado came in. Jean was there, and she had worked, we had overlapped for about 3 weeks, and she was training me. And Aguado came in around 2:30. It was in the summer. And he said, "What are you still doing here? You need to shut the place down and let's go get liquored up, And I'm just thinking like, what did I get myself into? And then the first faculty meeting, Jean was still there, and she had these two travel reimbursements, and she went into the reading room, which was the seminar room at the time, and she slammed the two reimbursements in front of two people, and she says, "There's your blankety blank travel reimbursements, and I don't want to hear anything more from you." And so once again, I'm like, oh my goodness, and then that faculty meeting was a very contentious one, and it lasted till after 6 o'clock. So at the end of that, I'm like, what did I really get myself into? But thankfully, the next year, Stuart Aiken came up with this idea. I think it was him. I'm hoping I remember right, of the colloquia, and we started having weekly colloquia, which was I didn't like the fact that it was going to be more work, but then when I realized that it meant that the faculty meetings couldn't go as long as they were going, I was really happy about that, so that the faculty meetings had to shorten themselves. And so from there, Serge Ray became our chair, and he was just a fantastic chair. I've been very, very fortunate in that everybody I've worked for is just really wonderful. After Serge, it was, I'm trying to think now, my mind is Piotr, I believe. And Piotr was the chair for the longest time while I was here. I think it was 7 years. And he just really cared about the staff. He was, just really great. I loved working for all of them. Like I said, Doug Stowe was interim. Doug Stowe really pushed for the staff to get higher salaries, and I appreciated that. Then Fernando, and he's also like really supported the staff, and I've watched how geography has grown and added all these different programs over the years, and it's been really wonderful. In addition to those chairs I've worked with great staff, starting with Bonnie and Lilia. And Bonnie and Jean, actually, on the first day I was there, they gave me the lowdown about everybody in the department. They told me, who was high maintenance, who was low maintenance, and I apologize. But yeah, they did. I heard all the stories, from them. And they told me whose work to do quickly and who to put at the bottom of the pile. I didn't listen to them, but I did. It was funny to listen to all of the stories, especially Bonnie, because she had been here so long. Boy, does she have some stories. So, and then work with Ira, Mary. They were fantastic. And then finally, I got really tired of like people coming in and then leaving because we didn't pay enough. So a person that I knew through basketball actually was looking for another job, and so I tried to bring her in as a temp, and dean's office denied me. Then I got denied again, and they weren't allowing it. So finally, I did my own little bit of protest. I called in sick for 2 weeks, and thankfully, Piotr really fought hard for this, and he really pushed, and we were able to bring Kendra in, and she's been here ever since, and she just made change the whole office atmosphere. And I really loved working with Kendra. She's the best coworker I've ever worked with, and so um, I'm really thankful that Piotr pushed to bring her in, and I'm just thankful that Kendra has stayed here, and she made my job easier, and she's just wonderful to work with. As you know, it made like coming to the office fun every day. Um, the tech staff, oh my goodness, Marcus, Harry, Pete, and before that, Dave. Um, Dave is a Raider fan, and I try to look past that. Marcus is a 49er fan. I try to look past that too. But they've just been great to work with. I'm going to miss buying those Girl Scout cookies every year from Pete and Harry. All of his hard work. Just the staff has been just really great to work with, the tech staff and the office staff over the years. So the students, what can I say? The students just have been wonderful. I've seen some, them come and go, and even like this now, we just have the greatest students in the world in geography. I really believe that they're just really great students, really passionate about their research, and I just love working around them. Faculty have been great. Everybody has their own personalities and they're passionate about what they're doing, and the research here is just fascinating. Um, and I've just loved it. I've enjoyed all 16 and a half. Well, I won't say all 16 and a half years. I've enjoyed the majority of the 16 and a half years that I've worked here, but I I will miss everybody, and I hope that some of you stay in touch, and I'm taking a position at UC Riverside. Basically, I'm doing RTP, and I do want to say in closing that I apologize if my performance wasn't always as good as I thought it should be. I'm a person that just strives for excellence in everything I do, and I have been that way since I was little. I've been that way in sports. I've been that way in academics, and I've been that way on my job. And I've always done a great job. And in sports, I've always excelled in sports. No matter basketball, volleyball, track, softball, just always have excelled. But um, here, when I things were coming in from all different directions. I was getting older, my mind was getting older, and I wasn't doing as great of a job as I thought I should be doing. And there were a lot of delays, a lot of memory lapses, things I forgot to do. And I apologize for that. It wasn't for a lack of trying, and it wasn't for lack of effort. It was just as I got older, I wasn't able to take everything from all these different directions anymore, and I didn't like the fact that I wasn't doing meeting that excellent standard that I had for myself all of these years. So my apologies for that. I'm sorry that I didn't leave a better legacy for myself, but I will be doing more, just a more narrow job now. I'll be doing a lot more of it, but it's just going to be basically doing, one thing most of the year. So it might be a little more boring, but it might be more in tune with what I should be doing at this point. So once again, I apologize if you were a victim of my delays, but um, I appreciate how kind everybody was about it. And just thank you. Excuse me. Thank you for making My years in geography, such great ones. I will miss everyone.